All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Wrestling with Reality. I am John. Richie will be joining us in just a few. He's just getting out of work, so he will be with us in just a few minutes. Great to see everybody this week. Sure missed you last week, but it was a wild week last week. So wild and crazy week in the world, not just in professional wrestling. So we decided to take off last week, give everybody a chance to refresh, get their brains back, all that good stuff after the elections in the United States. But we got a great topic tonight. We're going to be talking about who's going to win this year's Royal Rumble. Who is going to be the winner for the men? For the women, we're going to hear some of your picks. We're going to give you ours, and it's an exciting time for wrestling fans. We got War Games coming up. We're going to talk about that tonight. And I even got a few news topics that we can discuss this evening, but let's check in with everybody in the chat fast. Rand, what's going on? Jeremy, how are you? Sean, what is up, my friend? Jude, the dude, how are you? Sean says, ring the bell. Jude says, everybody excited to watch a live murder on Netflix Friday? Yeah, we're going to talk about that too. Definitely. We will definitely get to that. The Mike Tyson and Jake Paul fight coming up on Friday on Netflix. Yeah, we'll talk about it a little bit. We were chatting a little bit about it earlier, so it's going to be a fun time. Is the Royal Rumble a 2-day event? I don't think it is this year, Sean. Maybe next year, but you guys correct me if I'm wrong on that. I think it's just 1 day still, but I think it'll eventually go to that point. So, yeah, I hope it's just 1 day too. Let me talk to you, Derek. What's happening, my friend? Can't wait to be with you guys tonight. Richie's coming on in just a second. Sean, he will be here. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. We got some other good people. Jason, what's up, man? How are you today, my friend? Hopefully everything's great in the old Sooner State. I'm glad your week was awesome, Sean. A third grandson. Congratulations. A future daughter-in-law on the 8th. Man, you got good stuff coming your way. Jeremy's here. And here's my partner, Mr. Richie. What is going on, Mr. Reardon? Are you connected and good tonight, my friend? He's got a little delayed internet going on in his new setup here. Let's see. Richie, you there? He is logging out. He is locked up. So, Richie, check your connection. Come on back in just a second. You can see he's here. And, of course, he is here. Taz is our hero. Rewind's here. Rewind. Good to see you, my friend. Oh, your grandson was born on the 3rd. Sorry about that, Sean. Congratulations on your grandson, man. That is awesome stuff. I don't have any grandkids yet, and definitely don't want any anytime soon, but I know you are a little bit older than I am, so I am glad to see that you have a happy, safe grandson and a new addition to the Fuller family. It's always good to see you too, Rewind. Always good to see you. Rich is going to try to connect back in just a second here, guys. But what's been going on with everybody the last couple of weeks? Fill me in on your lives. I'm gonna send out a chat in just a minute to everybody as well for later on in the show. I'll send that out in just a little bit. But what's been going on in your lives? Hopefully everybody's been great the last couple of weeks. Everybody been doing good. Everybody happy we can move on after this crazy election season. Now that we have a new president, now that we can hopefully get back to a little bit of normalcy. That's kind of the goal, at least. So we'll see how it comes. Just watched the ECW Taz taking out Malenko. Rand is checking out some Taz history for you, Rewind, tonight. Do you have your baby oil ready, Rewind? Sean wants to know. Because I think they're booking you in a match against Linda McMahon. So, Linda McMahon, WrestleMania 41. I saw Sean's comment right before the show started, Rewind. So, they're booking you in that match. I don't even think you got to pay Rewind to do that one. Making lots of money off the fear of the election. Yeah, they're coming by lots of guns from you probably right now, Jude. Huh? Oh, well, enough politics. That's my little quick fun thing about politics. Rewind says he was rear-ended last Friday. I'm getting estimates. The other guy's car got totaled. Jeez. He hit me like a stop sign going 25 miles an hour, sent me 30 feet forward into a curb. People drive like jackasses. Damn, Rewind. I'm just glad you're here, bro. That is a good thing to hear, man, that you're here. I'm sorry what happened to your car. I hope you got a new truck, and hopefully they're got you with a good rental car and everything like that, too. Been a crazy week, man. I'm sorry to hear that, bro. Terrible to hear that. But we're glad to have you here tonight. Hope maybe you got a punishment bowl story for us. I don't know. We'll see. I see Richie backstage. Let's see if his connection is better yet. Richie, when he comes on, Richie Rich 999. Richie, can you hear me? Richie, can you hear me? Richie, can you hear me? We didn't get a chance to test the connection ahead of time just because of the Richie getting out of work late. So that's why we're kind of doing it now live on the air. Richie, can you hear me at all? All right. He's having connection problems. So I'm just going to keep going on until he gets them figured out. Hold on. Let's see. How about now? Can you hear us? You got like an AOL dial-up connection going on there, dude. It's like, everybody remember those days with AOL? Your connection sucks. So come on back in, hardwire that thing in if you could hear me like you did last time. So, oh boy, the rewind's rear-ended. Does he mean pegging? What is pegging? I have no idea. I'm gonna probably have to look that word up later tonight, Sean. If it's about rewinding something, and rear-ending, I can only imagine what it is. That's not the rewind rear end that he was expecting. Jesus, man. Well, I'm glad you're good though, Rewind. Hey, Joey, what's going on? A 5-day vacation this week, starting with SmackDown in Milwaukee on Friday. That's awesome, man. That'll be fun. You'll have a good time. SmackDown is always a good show, and it's kind of their A show now from what we've seen. They said Crown Jewel. Anybody get into Crown Jewel and watch that pay-per-view recently? I know, I think it was the week before last, but I didn't really get a chance to catch much of it. I caught the results. I've been more interested in the War Games stuff that's going on. So let's break into War Games really fast. So it's slowly, the dance card's filling up for War Games. I don't know if you guys want to look at the spoilers, but they already posted the spoilers for Raw for next week, and it kind of sets up the women's War Games match. And all I'm going to say is, why are they going back to the fucking tapings? Are they trying to give them time off? I don't know what's going on with it, but they've been taping the shows a little bit more recently for WWE. It's kind of lazy shit. I know with the Crown Jewel stuff why they would do it, but I really don't understand why they did it afterwards, for this next week. It really doesn't make much sense to me. Maybe they're trying to give the talent more time off for the week, but this is the WWE, so I highly doubt it. But War Games is starting to take effect a little bit, so it's going to be interesting to see. I love War Games. It's along with the Royal Rumble, they're two of my favorite matches of the year. So, okay, Jude said Triple H gave him off for Thanksgiving. Well, that's good then. At least that's a good reason to be taped. Give them some time off. Those guys and girls are on the road all the time. So I'm glad to see Thanksgiving break, Sean said. So, yep, good for them, though, because I don't think Vince ever would have done that stuff. But I don't know. This War Games build-up to me has been a little odd from what I've seen. I haven't had a chance to watch too much, but I've been able to see a lot. Of the highlights and read a little bit about what's going on. I just haven't been able to sit down. I haven't had the time to really watch it all the way through. But I've been paying attention to the storylines, paying attention what's going on. I first heard it was going to be 4-on-4, and then they were pretty locked in on that. And then now they've changed it, and they are going to go 5-on-5 for the match. So with everything that's been happening at Crown Jewel, with everything that's been happening on the shows, they've been trying to piece together. For the men's match, it looks like so far for the 4, we have Jimmy and Jey Uso, Roman Reigns, and Sami Zayn, and they're going to be taking on, of course, Solo's group Solo, Jacob Fatu, and the Gorillas of Destiny, and there's a yet-to-be-named 5th person for each team. I know we've been talking about this a lot on the show, but we're going to get it. And I hope to God it's not what they were trying to book last night on Raw. They were kind of trying to tease Seth Rollins maybe joining them. Sammy was trying to recruit him. Seth said no. And then I saw afterwards they, did an angle with Bronson Reed for next week. If you don't want to hear any spoilers, I'm sorry. Just tune out a few of the things I'm going to say here. But I guess they're trying to tease maybe Bronson Reed coming in for their 5th man. I don't really care for that, to be honest with you. But if they're going to bring Seth in and that's what they're going to do, I think it's extremely lazy booking, in my opinion. Jason said last night was awful. The Karrion Kross Wyatt Six stuff is unwatchable. Yeah, I heard that too. Jude said that it seemed sloppy, bad booking leading up. Richie, we got you, bro. Got that internet Obama connection in Arizona. Yeah, KO, a lot of people are thinking might be the 5th man. So I'm seeing that. Derek's leaning towards Reigns, Uso, Zayn's Raw and Rollins versus the New Bloodline and Reed. Yeah, that's kind of what it looks like they're doing. I hope it's a swerve, though, Derek, to be honest with you. I hope it's a swerve. Sean says Bloodline versus Bloodline, not very interested in it. Rewind says NXT was in the greatest little arena of all time. Yeah, we're going to get to that in a second, Rewind, because that was a pretty hot show. We'll talk about NXT in a second. But I really hope they go the other way. I've been saying it for months. I think the money angle in this is to bring Brock Lesnar back. Paul Heyman's hopefully going to be the one to come back as well and bring somebody to help them and get them in that fifth man role. I think Rollins would be extremely stupid to insert here. I think he made a compelling promo and argument why he didn't want to do it. I think that's the way they should stick, but I think they're going to keep teasing people. So ultimately, I think they're going to, go down the route with Brock Lesnar. I kind of think that's what it's going to be. They're going to go down the route with Brock Lesnar. I don't know about KO. I don't really want to see him in there, Joey. It's not really something I'm too interested in as well. Derek makes a good point here as well. This was another one I was going to say. What if he brings in Punk to join the team? Absolutely, because he's got to have some connection to these guys. And the only two guys that I could see him having a connection with would be either Punk or Brock Lesnar. To me, I'm going to go with Brock Lesnar as the one I want, but Punk would be a fun one. I don't think you're going to see Punk in another brutal style matchup after doing that Hell in the Cell. I don't think his old body can kind of handle it, but we'll see. Seth pretty much told both teams to fuck off. Yeah, he did. That's for sure. Oh, let's see if we get Richie here. Richie, what about now? Can you hear us? Try to hardwire in, Richie, like you did that the one time it didn't do it. Try to hardwire in. Okay. If you can hardwire in your cave there, see if you can do that, because we're not getting anything from you. I know you're still trying, but it's just not coming through. See if you can hardwire in. That's the easiest way to do it. But I don't know, guys. I love war games. I'm interested to see where they go with it. I just hope they don't go the conventional route. What do you guys want to see for the fifth people, for those teams? Who is it that you want to see? Do you want to see it as Brock? Do you want to see it as Punk? Do you want to see it as Seth? Do you want to see it as Bronson? What do you guys want to see? You want to see a KO in there? I don't know. To me, money is Brock Lesnar. I really want to see the ultimate matchup being built up for Brock Lesnar. I want to see them teasing something with him and Jacob Fatu. I think the Royal Rumble is going to be the way to go to kind of build up a feud with Jacob Fatu and Brock Lesnar, maybe having Brock eliminate him in the Rumble and kind of going from there. But we'll talk about that, I think, when we talk about the Rumble in a little bit. But there's a lot that they can build off of here, I think. So I really hope that they build this correctly and just don't go the lazy way, because to me, the lazy way would be to go and, go with Seth and Bronson. Just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Now, Rewind, of course, mentioned the great ECW where NXT was in the ECW arena. Really cool promotion. Really, really cool to see them bring some of the ECW legends back for the show. NXT probably is the hottest brand, I think, right now, once again, in professional wrestling. I don't think there's many that can touch them overall with what they're doing. They kicked the shit out of AEW yet again. I think they beat them by like 100,000 some odd viewers or some shit like that on this last one. Destroyed them the time before that, and AEW went to their, I think it was AEW went to their night or something like that on Tuesday night of champions or some shit like that. And NXT just eviscerated them. They kicked the crap out of them pretty good on this one too. And NXT's just firing on all cylinders. I think they arguably got the best women's show, women's division in professional wrestling right now. They're bringing in all this new talent that's coming in from across the world. And NXT is really, really building it up. And it was really cool to see the way they incorporated, like I said, the ECW legends in there. Bubba Ray Dudley's back. I mean, he was in the main event. How many people thought they'd see Bubba Ray Dudley wrestling in NXT in 2024? Not a lot of people. So good to see him back. Even Devon came back at the end. Dawn Marie in her 50s looked like a complete smoke show still. It was just awesome to see. Love the ECW, I love the, going back in time a little bit for ECW. Always been a fan of it. So good to see them doing it right way, because my God, the way they did it with that reboot years ago was just dreadful. So it was just friggin' dreadful. See, Rewind says, fun show. Absolutely. Derek says, will Rock be the Bloodline's fifth man? Doubt do War Games. So yeah, that's what I'm kind of thinking with The Rock, Derek, that The Rock probably is going to be a Rumble on one when he comes in. But once again, we'll kind of get to that at the end of the show, because I think it's I think they would waste him to bring him in right now and do something like this. Do something else. Save him for later on. He's going to be the big part of WrestleMania, I think, this year. And once again, we'll talk about that in a little bit. Sean says, I find NXT boring. Wow, interesting, Sean. But hey, it's not everybody's flavor, so I totally get it. Blackjack Laza's here. What's going on? Wish RVD had a match, though. Yeah, because he can still go in the ring, too. You know, he can still go in the ring. Yeah, I'd like to understand why you don't like it, though, Sean. Please let us know your thoughts on it. Rewind says Bubba can still fit into his old red ECW jackets. That's 20 years old. I think he's a lot leaner than he was, way leaner than he was in ECW, too. So I definitely could see him fitting into it. He's one of the most underrated mic men in the business. He is brutal on the mic in a good way. I love Bubba Ray Dudley's promos. The guy's hilarious. He is definitely very, very underappreciated in regards to his mic skills at certain times. Yep, the Queen of Extreme, Francine, was there ringside. Sean is happy. Blackjack is here, out and about, so I can only comment today. We'll pop in. Thank you, Laura. Laza, good to see you. Dawn Marie at 54. She's still killing it. Absolutely. The Rock will do the CM Punk at the end of Survivor Series War Games. Yeah, that's what I'm kind of thinking, Rand. And then it's going to set up him coming in later on, which once again, we'll get back to in a little bit. So I don't know. I'm excited for War Games. It's like I said, it's always my favorite match of the year, gimmick match thing along with the Rumble. I love those two. And they definitely had some great surprises last year at Survivor Series with CM Punk coming back. And, of course, Randy Orton came back on that show. He'd been gone for, I think, about a year and a half. So, yeah, I like this part too, Derek. It's always great to see Rhino coming out. Rhino can still go in the ring too at his age. And I think he's in his 50s as well. So, good job on NXT. I really thought they did a good job putting the show together from all the clips that I saw and everything. It seemed like a really fun show. And really nice to see them doing some good things again. They had a very stale period for a few years, trying to kind of rebuild a little bit. So kind of nice to see. Joey's going to go with he's going to go with a different one here. Pat McAfee joining the OG Bloodline. Interesting. For star appeal would be probably pretty cool on that. I don't know how he would fit into it, Joey, but Pat can always go in the ring. He's a hell of an athlete, so he brings a lot of credibility to things too. Lorraine says, I'm sick of people calling me Bubba, as a lot of people say I look like him. It makes me feel ugly as he is ugly. I do not see Bubba Ray Dudley in you at all, Lorraine. Not at all, my friend. John Cena, the guy you're forgetting about with the bloodline. Ooh, interesting one there, Rand. I did not even put John Cena in there. So very, very interesting on that one, especially, with Solo taking him out. That I think it's one of the Crown Jewels or one of the Saudi pay-per-views a couple years ago or something. Maybe it was a SummerSlam. I don't even remember, but I remember Solo took him out. So interesting perspective with Cena maybe being somebody on there. Good point, Rand. Sean says NXT storylines aren't interesting. Saw a lot of botches early on, and I can't watch it. Okay. Rewind says I think Pat is booked up to the beginning of the year, I believe. I mean, he has enough freaking jobs right now, right? I mean, he literally, this guy is like on NFL Game Day. He's got one of the most popular shows, in the world for sports. I think it's like every day for like 3 or 4 hours on ESPN. You gotta admire the hustle of Pat McAfee, man. I hated him when he first came in too, but I'm a fan of Pat McAfee for the most part now. I love that he's a fan of the business too, and he's very passionate about what he does. So I love that about him. Survivor Series War Games is in Cena's wife's hometown. Okay. All right. Where is it coming from this year? I forget. Where is War Games coming from this year? Somebody fill me in. NXT has non-interesting storylines and AEW has no storylines. Yeah, there you go. What is their storylines that are going on? We'll talk about AEW in a minute because I want to talk about the scumbag of the week, and it's a new award that I'm going to give this week. Maybe we'll kind of start a trend with it, but this guy's going to get the first honors of the scumbag of the week award, and it's going to tie in a little AEW afterwards. So bear with me on that. But interesting piece of business that came out this last week was Bruce Pritchard and Michael P.S. Hayes, longtime guys with a lot of power in the WWE, are on an indefinite leave of absence from the company. So indefinite leave of absence. Pritchard's been there for the better part since 1987, I believe. And he had a period of time where he wasn't there, of course, and then came back later on. He was fired in the late 80s at one point. So it's interesting to see. I guess he's maybe had some health issues and, some other things that might have been going on with them. So maybe that's why. I don't know. He doesn't look healthy when I see him on some of the clips. His podcast has gone complete to shit over the years. He seems so disinterested in it. He just looks like he's so miserable, Pritchard. And I'm sure he's probably under a crazy amount of stress, crazy amount of pressure. And a guy his age probably isn't the best idea to be working those insane hours that they do. But he seems like a wrestling fan for life and a glutton for punishment. He sticks around, but nobody knows the true reason why Bruce isn't around. I hope if he's having, health issues or something more important, I hope it works out good for him. And, he gets that under control if it's something like that, or if he just needs a time off. I don't know. I think the writing's kind of on the wall. And I think a lot of these older guys like that, and especially the old Vince McMahon guys like a Pritchard, probably won't be making it many more years. Nothing against their age or what they've done for the business. They've had great contributions, but I don't know. You see people get weathered a little bit. I don't know really the deal with Michael P.S. Hayes' stuff, but they were saying it was like personal matters and things like that, of course. So who knows what it's all about, but interesting to see that both of those guys, aren't right now in the fold over there because they've been such big players for so long. Christian Cage is going to get his mouth smashed in by the great Baby Hook for running his mouth. Yeah, he took him out. That's bad news for, father. Hook coming after him. Not a good thing, Rewind. Supposedly they are out for family health issues. Yeah, I saw that about JBL filling in for Bruce on his podcast. I'll be honest with you, Derek. I'd rather hear JBL doing it with Conrad than the Bruce shit, because I used to love Something to Wrestle. It was something I always looked forward to listen to. Bruce was always an interesting guy. He was always a lot of fun to listen to and had good stories. He was kind of a bitchy guy all the time, but that was kind of what you loved about his personality. But through the years with his commitments, since he went back to the WWE and everything, his shows have just kind of sucked really bad to me. And it was just all the time they're doing, these rehashes or whatever the hell they call them, the mega shows where they're just combining old shows where he talked about certain things. And hey, if people love that nostalgia, great. I used to listen to him religiously back in the day. I'd love to hear new content. If they can't do it, I get it. I understand, I think he's probably not going to be doing it too much longer. I think it's a great idea to bring JBL with them. JBL stories are just, to me, the things that I love to hear. He's a man's man. He's fun. He's a wrestling god. I think it's great. I hope they stick with him for a while. Yeah, they got the Ring Boys date stuff coming up, things that they're bringing back from the 80s. I think they sued Linda and Vince on that one too. Could be wrong, but I think they sued both of them on the Ring Boy stuff. So I'm sure we'll be talking about that more in the weeks to come. Jude says he's probably going to be part of Vince's new entertainment company. Yeah, you never know. He needs some of that love he had as Brother Love. I love you. He should call him the heel, Sean. Brother Love, very interesting character. Always found it as a lot of fun. Brother Love, Brother Love, Brother Love. Well, that's a little bit of WWE news. Let's go to the Scumbag of the Week award, though. And this is going to go to none other than probably one of the biggest parasites in wrestling for many years that a lot of people would agree on. And a guy that I don't know how he's made it as long as he has. I don't know how he's made as much money as he had in the business, but he eats, he sleeps, he breathes professional wrestling, and he is a very, unbiased according to him, but we all know the truth. And it's Dave Meltzer gets the nod for this week's Scumbag of the Week award for some of the things that he said. So, story came out last week that, longtime wrestling personality, behind the scenes guy, somebody that's been in the business for 50 some odd years, Dutch Mantel, was extremely sick. His wife, same thing, very sick. Both of them were nearly dying, at this point. And apparently they've been really, really ill for many, many, many years and have been battling some real bad health issues. So apparently Dutch and his wife both got admitted to the hospital, nearly died, had a lot of issues and things like that. And it came out that they were having some financial issues because of the cost of medical care, the procedures that they had to have done, being in their older ages. I don't know their financial history. It's just what they kind of came out with. And they started a GoFundMe page for it. So they decided that, they were going to do a GoFundMe page for Dutch and his wife, which I think was awesome. It's great to see that people are giving back to the community, the wrestlers that they love. And it's nice to see that, people can rally together to help somebody when they're in need. That's what we should want to do in this world. And it was terrible to see that Dutch was going through a lot of health issues. His wife was going through them, and wishing them both the best on a speedy recovery. You know, Dutch has a podcast that he does. I think it's on YouTube. Maybe it's on other outlets too. I think it's called like Story Time with Dutch or something like that. If I'm wrong on the name, guys, tell me if I'm wrong on the name. I hear clips on it sometimes. And Dutch, I think, is a very fair critic of wrestling. He's been in it forever, and I think he gives very fair perspectives most all the time in regards to his feelings on storylines and companies and what's going on. And he's been very critical at times of Tony Khan's booking. Who hasn't? Let's be realistic. Who hasn't? But he's been very critical of it at certain points. I don't ever remember hearing him say anything malicious or mean about him as a person or anything like that, but it's his job as a, you know, a podcaster or a wrestling personality. People want to hear their opinions on what they see. Dutch has been around the business forever and been so successful at it. So Dutch gives an honest critique on his show, and a lot of people probably think that he's just bearing on Tony Khan, you know, like everybody else does. But you know, irregardless of that, he's doing his job. He's doing what people want to see. And they started a GoFundMe to help out Dutch. And really nice to see that once again. And they started this GoFundMe, and I think they've got it up to like $64,000 or something at this point in time. So Dave's got his Wrestling Observer newsletter and his show that he does. And I think this was in his newsletter. So he wanted to discuss the situation of Dutch and his wife and their situation, the GoFundMe, and then it gets really, really, really low because Dave starts mentioning some things in here that probably you shouldn't be doing. And when you're trying to talk about helping a guy that's dying at the moment, you know, that needs financial help, that's in a critical condition, you know, and his wife. So Dave writes in the Wrestling Observer newsletter, said they raised $64,200 with most of the top donors being anonymous. And the largest donors were Tony Khan at $5,000 and Chris Jericho at $1,500. This is Dave writing this once again, folks. And I say kudos to Tony Khan and Chris Jericho. And there was a lot of other people, too, that were bigger names that donated a lot of money to that Dave didn't mention. He just mentioned the AW guys here. And, you know, I give them all the credit in the world. I know Tony's a billionaire. I know Jericho's super rich, but they don't have to give anything to anybody. And Tony's a very generous and kind guy to people from what I've seen many times. We can criticize his storylines, but he seems like a really good guy, really good heart. And he donated $5,000. Chris donated $1,500. Keep going on with Dave's right up here. He says, with Khan, many have pointed out that Mantell as a podcaster was brutal to Khan, even being critical of him when the promotion was at its popularity peak. And he recently criticized him for the contract terms of Swerve Strickland. Why do you need to bring it up like that? You know, why do you need to bring it up at that time? So he goes on to say it's something when a former wrestler gets mad at a promoter who can clearly afford it for what he pays the top talent. He was doing it after he knew the deal was put together and he was going to make the company exceedingly profitable. He's talking about Swerve here and just bringing him on for this big contract. Wrestlers using the old school. He doesn't draw money and not understanding that this isn't a mom and pop week-to-week business based upon live event numbers, but one is that in the worst-case scenario would generate $250 million a year in revenue. He's talking about AEW bullshit. You know, no, not happening. I just can't see that. But hey, whatever. I really wonder where Dave gets these numbers. So I'm sure it's from Tony Khan feeding it to him too. So yeah, whatever on that. And to most of that, the revenue is guaranteed ahead of time. So he went on to just go on and bash him right here and start talking about his family now. So he says he's battled sepsis twice over the last year. Both times nearly took his life. He had a month-long stay in the hospital. His wife also had sepsis and diverticulitis to the point that she's been hospitalized 11 times since May 11th, or 11 times since May. And she had emergency bowel resection surgery, lost 70 pounds. Because of the extended hospital stay, their insurance and life savings are depleted, and they started a GoFundMe account for them. This is once again from the newsletter here, folks. He goes on to talk about they raised $64,000 with most of the GoFundMe profits, and then he went on to go talk about that. And basically, why would you do this in a post where they're trying to help somebody, and then you bring up that he doesn't like Dave or that he doesn't like Tony Khan in his booking? And goes on to kind of question why these guys would do anything for him. What do you guys think about that? Is that a piece of shit move to me? Is that a piece of shit move to you as it is to me? Dutch responded to it today, and he was very upset about it. And he went on to talk about, you can say whatever you want about me, but you brought my family into it. You were discussing their personal matters and business. You had no right to do that. And then you wanted to bring up my critique of somebody. And then he went on to basically go praise Tony Khan for his generosity. Say, I hope you understand, I'm just doing this as a job. Like, I'm not criticizing you as a person. He said, Tony can obviously see it. So he was very appreciative and thankful for it. I suggest you go check out the interview. I think it's on WSI Interviews on YouTube. He does a ton of wrestling shoot interviews. So if you ever want to go check it out, by all means, go right ahead. Lawrence says, Jim, Dutch point things from their experience in wrestling. They hype it up a bit, but Tony, if he's smart, he was absorb the knowledge they're offering as well as anyone else wanting to learn from the best. Sounds like Dave should be replaced by a primary school teacher who would do his job better. When I went to school, and they also gave stars in the form of sticker form plus jelly beans. Rewind saying scumbag shit. Yeah. Jude says, why would you jump on a soapbox to preach all this bullshit when they simply need some help? And as a human, you help each other. He's a fucking tool that tries to stay relevant. Sean says, is he even relevant? In his own mind, he is, guys. And in his own mind, he is on this stuff. I just, I don't understand why you would think that this is a good idea to do. People who haven't realized Dave Meltzer is a piece of garbage for all these years and just a liar in so many ways and somebody that bullshits people, and he is the most favoring of AEW no matter how shitty they are. When his partner even basically calls him out on it on their shows, on the clips I've heard, that's when you know that this guy is a low creature. He guaranteedly is getting kickbacks from them. There's some incentive to him. And the sad thing is that Tony's listening to a guy like this. That's the most ridiculous thing. There's real people out there that can actually help his product, and he's listening to the Dave Meltzers of the world, I'm sure. Pretty wild stuff. Derek says now AEW neckbeards will see Dave's comments and they won't donate to Dutch's GoFundMe. I think that was his intentions, and that's low for even Dave. I would agree with you, Derek. It was just this condescending tone that he takes with everything, especially if it's not with somebody that he cares for and likes. Let people help this guy out who's going through something fucking tough in his life. But no, you got to sit over there and be a prick about it. Fuck that guy, man. And anybody that stands by that type of shit, that's a low move. You don't have to like somebody, but don't screw them at the end of their, or when they're at their worst moments. Don't be a dick to them. They're not doing anything malicious and mean to you or wrestling by criticizing a product. Everybody's entitled to have an opinion. Don't disrespect somebody when they're on their low moments in life and when they're going through hard times. So shout out to Dutch. And if you guys got a couple bucks, the GoFundMe's out there. Look it up if you want to contribute to it. I kicked in $50 to it too this last week when it came out because, hey, everybody needs a hand. We've all been there before too. So if you got a couple bucks to spare, throw it out Dutch's way. I'm sure he would really appreciate it right now. Him and his family are going through a lot. So we all support being good over here. We don't want to see just shit moves like people like Dave Meltzer doing that type of stuff. Yeah, Jude says TK is listening because these trash stroke his ego. Yeah, 100%, man. You guys are right. Meltzer should issue a retraction and then donate $10,000 to Dutch and his family. Agreed. I don't know if anybody saw this too last week. Meltzer got completely punked online. He decided to go out and retweet a parody account. Not retweet, excuse me. He took the information from a parody Twitter account called WrestleVotes with no W on it. And it says right in the bio that it's a parody account. And they had put a post up that said, WWE Backlash 2025 will be in the Tokyo Dome. So, of course, Dave jumped on that shit, thinking it's legit. I mean, he's got credible sources, everybody, These are from his credible sources. And he ends up tweeting out right afterwards, Backlash 2025 is going to the Tokyo Dome. And then people just punked him real fast on it because, of course, people who are intelligent can realize it's a fucking parody account and not something that's real. And Dave, backtracked a little bit, but didn't even issue a retraction, tried to put the blame on somebody else, and he looked like a complete tool. The best was Eric Bischoff's reaction to it. Anytime Dave says something stupid, I just wait to see what Eric Bischoff is going to do because he just waits for it. He loves to just egg Dave on, and I'm all for it. It always makes my day to see him egg him on because he just he just hates his guts. And of course, I don't think Dave likes him any bit either. So it's always fun to see Bischoff's reaction to, the stupidity of Dave Meltzer at certain times, because Dave puts out a lot of stupid shit all the time. Let's see. Let me get the comments here. 1 second, guys. Laurent says, my hat goes off to Dutch. Don't blame him if he shoots on Dave like Dutch is Gene LaBelle and makes Dave shit himself. He did say in his clip, and you guys can hear it for yourself, that he would like to not punch Dave or hit him like that, but he would love to slap the shit out of him. He said that there's some people that just deserve a good slap, and he's glad he's not around him now because he'd probably slap the shit out of him. So, and I believe that he would. Good. I hope Dave Meltzer stays away from Dutch Mantel, because he might get a backhander or just a complete bitch slap right in the face. Laurent says, I love when Eric Bischoff burns Dave. He always rips Dave's balls off, and he has fun doing it too. That's the best part. All right, guys, I put a link out in the stream on YouTube and on Facebook. If you want to come on, just got to have good audio, please. We try to avoid the problems with audio or connections. That's why Richie was having some issues tonight. We couldn't he couldn't get it fixed up here tonight. I think he's in a new place with the setup. But just have good audio, good connections. Jeremy, I'll send you that link out in just a second, buddy. So that way, if you want to hop on, you're more than welcome to. And anybody else, it's fair games for this topic we're going to talk about next. And the topic we're going to talk about is the Royal Rumble 2025 and beyond. Who is it going to be that's going to win the Rumble for the men? Who's going to be that's going to win the Rumble for the ladies? Who are your choices? Where do you think it's going to lead for WrestleMania for them too? Now, I'm sure we're going to do this topic a bunch of times, right after the Rumble when it's coming up, we'll discuss it again. But with War Games being a big part to set this up, that's kind of why I believe, we'll hit on this many times, because War Games is where it starts, and where it's going to go, who knows where it's going to go. Rand's going for Perry Saturn. You love Perry Saturn, Rand. Like Rewind loves Taz, Rand loves Perry Saturn. Well, let's bring on somebody that's in the back already, our good buddy, Mr. Jude. Jude, what's going on, my friend?
What's up, guys?
I saw I've never seen it because I just got big into college football the last couple of years. Finally picked my team. I'm a Ducks guy. I've been with them before the season started, folks. I'm not hopping on the bandwagon, all right? I've loved them, all that good shit. So I love college football. More entertaining to me than the NFL this year.
Absolutely.
And I think it's probably like that every year, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
The drama of it is so fun. The college, football series that they
changes too. Like this year too. It's like, you didn't have a clear-cut number one this year, or even top five.
Yeah.
And now it's so weird how, this year's just been top teams losing, next man up, and yeah, like Alabama's not even in the top three. And
I love seeing that, by the way.
Oh, I do too.
I've always followed at a distance, Jude. Like I've always watched at a distance, but I'm like, I didn't have enough time to commit to another team. I just got so disenchanted by the NFL the last couple of years. I love Brock Purdy and the Niners. I'm a Dolphins fan. My team sucks always. It's what happens. But I really got into college football last couple of years. And you're a big Penn State guy because you live right near Penn State. So you're diehard Penn State, right?
Absolutely.
You were just at the big game the other weekend, right?
Yeah, with Ohio State. Yeah.
So Jeremy had mentioned it in our group chat the one day. I'd never seen what it looked like before because I've never really followed much of Penn State. And I saw the whiteout from Penn State.
Buddy,
got
it.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
What
if you ever have a chance, whiteout games, like you see, like even Pat McAfee.
Yeah.
He said it during his podcast like a couple years ago about the Penn State whiteout. And he said, if you ever go to a college football game, you have to go to Happy Valley. You have to go to a whiteout game.
Yeah.
Because it's an experience. I mean, it is absolutely an experience. The
so
noise level. Oh my God. Yeah.
The music, the atmosphere, how they bring them out, the whole crowd being an all white everything. Man, what a cool sight. Next year, if you know the whiteout game when it's going to be, let me know. I'm not even a Penn State fan. If you want an extra company, I will drive up the hour and a half up 81 to come out to a game. I have to see the whiteout in my life.
I have tickets, buddy. So we will.
Let's do it,
absolutely.
Man.
We'll go.
What a cool experience.
Yep.
Like I'm not like I don't flip flop on teams that I love, even though you want to sometimes. But I'll tell you, watching the cool atmosphere of Penn State, amongst many other great colleges too, by the way, I'm just gonna say there's so many cool ones. But what makes me a fan just by watching what they do, especially with that whiteout, man, totally cool.
Two things that I always say in sports that you need to experience. Number one is a whiteout game at Penn State.
Yep.
And number two is being at a home Steelers game when they play Renegade.
Oh, okay.
That's another one, buddy. Whenever you go to a Steelers game, they play Renegade in the stadium, nothing like it.
Oh, man, I can't wait. Dude. Let's bring on a few more people here to join us tonight. Jeremy, what's going on? Are you in bed, Jeremy?
Yeah, Jackson's asleep.
Oh, okay. We'll keep it a little quiet. How's it going in your neck of the woods, Jeremy?
Well, other than my dogs being on the outside of the playoffs, I'm doing pretty good.
All right. Cool. Good to see you, buddy. Let me bring a couple more people on here tonight. Joey, what's going on, Mr. Joey?
Oh, nothing. Just got home from dinner, 8-year anniversary. So we're just
congratulations.
Yeah, just chilling at home now. So
how many kids you got, Joey?
Oh, we don't have any kids.
No kids yet. Do you want kids? No kids? Don't want them?
No, I'm 42. I don't think we're gonna be having any kids anytime.
I got a couple extra, buddy. Just let me know.
No, I'm good. I can't even afford cats.
This shit's expensive. I agree with you. Well, great to see you, Joey, man. It's always good to see you. Jason, what's going on, Jason?
What's going on, guys?
Look at him. He's going by his real name tonight.
Wait a minute here. Hold on. Who is Jason?
Hold on. He's even got the chalkboard again, guys. Okay. Look at that.
What is on the chalkboard now?
Can you see it?
Oh, for crying out loud. Yeah, he's got it all figured out. Shit. Oh, God.
He does, man. He does.
The man gets rear-ended, and now he's using his real name. And
I love it. He's like, he's going to be doing the squigglies out here. You know, take out a Becky Lynch in this match. You know,
the best thing about Brett Favre is Brett Favre.
I love this commitment, but you know what the best part about this is too? You fucking color coded it.
I did.
Look at that. What commitment?
What
commitment? All right, guys. So I'm gonna go around now, and we're gonna talk Royal Rumble. So if you guys can stick on as long as you want. If you got to break off, you're not offending me after you say your piece. If you want to break off, if you want to stick around to the end, let's do it. Cool, whatever you want. So Royal Rumble coming up. First, want to start with War Games, and I'll throw it right first to Joey. I'll kick off with Joey here tonight. Joey, what's your prediction for the winner of War Games? What do you think is gonna happen in War Games this year?
I think Cody is going to be the 5th for the OG War Games or OG Bloodline. I think the 5th is going to be Kevin Owens for the other one for the new Bloodline. That's going to set up Sammy turning on the OG Bloodline. It's going to set up a feud with Sammy and KO turning heel again. They're going to be feuding with Kevin Owens, Randy Orton, and Sami Zayn. It's going to be a 4-way feud. You know, Zayn and Owens are going to get back together. It's going to carry into Jimmy and Jay and Roman feuding with the Bloodline still. It's going to splinter off into maybe Randy and Cody feuding. That's going to carry into the Rumble.
Okay.
You know, that's where I see everything going.
All right. Do you think we get a Rock sighting at the end of the War Games match or at any point? Or do you think we're going to wait?
I think so. It's in Vancouver. They shoot a lot of movies in Vancouver. Rock's a big actor, so he's probably shooting a movie in Vancouver right now. So he could show up. So.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
What about you? I'm going to kick it off to, let's go to Jeremy next. Jeremy, you think we're going to get a Rock sighting at War Games?
Possible.
Okay. Do you think it's like one of the people in the crowd had mentioned or in the audience had mentioned earlier where it's going to be at the end of the match? Or do you think there's any way they go with him as the 5th man?
I know. I think he might have a interference because they've already done like the end of the thing, like a Bad Blood. Why do it again? That's corny. But I agree with Joey, though. I think it's going to be Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes.
Okay. What about you, Mr. Jason? And I'm going to get to Jude last. Who do you think?
The Rock, dude. He's going to come out. He's going to be the 5th man. The other guy's going to be Cody. They're going to go from there, you know?
Okay. Jude?
I don't think anybody's right.
What do you think?
I I think you're going to get The Rock interfering to keep Roman. I think you're going to have the War Games. The last man to get into the ring is going to be Roman. And I think The Rock's going to screw him somehow to where he doesn't even get into the match.
Interesting.
So, a couple things with the fifth man for each team. I could see Paul Heyman bring in Brock Lesnar for Roman, but I can also see Solo Sikoa bringing in Braun Breaker.
Interesting.
Throw Braun Breaker into it with him. If they don't do it, I think you are going to get Bronson Reed with Solo and Seth Rollins with Roman.
Yeah.
Because I think they're going to hold off Brock Lesnar because they're hoping Brock Lesnar will go up against Gunther.
You think Brock and Gunther is the money match, or you think it's Brock and Jacob Fatu?
So I don't think it's Brock and Jacob Fatu because you bring back Brock Lesnar. You're trying to build Jacob Fatu because after WrestleMania you're not going to have any bloodline. I don't think you're going to have any bloodline at all. If you're going to build Jacob Fatu, Brock Lesnar will shit all over that. Because the crowd is going to be 100% behind Brock Lesnar, and then you lose all steam with Jacob Fatu, unless you have Jacob Fatu beat Brock clean
at Survivor Series.
I wouldn't do it till WrestleMania.
That's my WrestleMania matchup for them. That's why I ask.
Yeah,
he's gonna pin him clean. I think here.
I think he has to. If you get him to pin him clean after WrestleMania, you're going to put Jacob Fatu in a title match. So as far as War Games and stuff like that, I think that's the direction they're going to go. I think Rock makes an appearance. I don't think he does anything physically. I don't think they throw him in a match at all. I think a sleeper though for that, I think Cena.
Yeah, Rand mentioned that I think earlier about Cena. Cena's an interesting
pick.
A
sleeper pick. Yep.
Yeah, he's an interesting pick. I think Cena's a great pick. When I heard it from Rand earlier, I think you guys all have great choices for that too, or where you're kind of seeing it. I think the money is on this one is to bring Brock in as the fifth man. And for the fifth man for the bloodline, probably Kevin Owens, because I think they're going to have to set up something with him and Sami. Maybe he takes him out, or they, whatever might happen in there. I could also see maybe Sami getting taken out even before the match by Kevin Owens and getting knocked out of the match. And maybe they bring Cody in there instead in his place. And then they're all thinking to themselves, really, what are we going to do now? And then here comes back the wise man bringing out Brock Lesnar, or even a CM Punk, like someone mentioned, would be cool. But I'd rather see Brock because I want to see them start setting this stuff up with him and Jacob right now for WrestleMania. It's ripe for the picking for them to do it right now. Jacob Fatu is going to be a world champion next year, I think. And I'd almost guarantee it. The guy's money and everything he does, he's a badass. A feather in his cap to beat a Brock Lesnar would be tremendous. I think here in Survivor Series, you bring him in. You bring Brock back, of course, for the big surprise. Let him clean house a little bit. And eventually him and Jacob kind of get, in a double count out or something when they get in the ring, fight it to the back. They both get taken out that way. And then I want to see Brock take out Jacob in the Royal Rumble. Knock him out, get Jacob pissed, set up that match for them for Mania. Brock loses clean to Jacob. Jacob goes on from there. But I do like the Cena. I really do like the Cena component, especially with it being his retirement tour. But the Royal Rumble is where the next big thing is going to be. I know they might do another show in December, pay-per-view, whatever it is. I know they got the big Netflix unveiling, of course. But Royal Rumble is the next big thing that they're setting up right now, of course. That's the thing that they're going to look for. That's what gets us into WrestleMania season